There is so much hype around automation and AI, but it seems like most of it is unusable unless you're trying to write a term paper or maybe an email. How often are you going to get on ChatGPT or Claude to use it? I'm here to tell you AI and automation can be super practical if you have a little bit of creativity. One thing that I really want to focus on in 2026 is using automation in practical ways that serve purposes for things that I do every single week. So today we're going to go over building an automation of how to actually buy groceries and get the best price. We're going to use something called an API, and I'll be building this workflow in n8n to show you exactly what it looks like. Come join me. Now, before we get started, there are a ton of technical aspects of this automation. However, you'll have access to the remix link, and all you'll need to do for your particular location is change the zip code and run the automation. I don't want you to focus on all of the technical details that I'll go over today if they aren't practical to you. However, just know that I'm going to explain a little bit of what I'm doing so you get a sense of how I'm building it. So I've come to n8n.io where I'll be showing and displaying this particular automation. This tool is super powerful, and they actually have a ton of practical real world applications as templates that you can go look at and actually utilize. So again, we'll be looking at groceries today, but if you are in sales, if you are in marketing, if you want to scrape websites for information, you're able to use this particular tool to be able to do just that. So we'll focus on getting all set up. You'll need to go in and create an account by getting started. I already have an account, so I'll go directly into my instance, which is a cloud account. So you'll be able to create a new workflow, and this is exactly where you'll be taken. All workflows have to start with some kind of trigger, whether you're scheduling it, whether you're creating a webhook, or whether you're just manually triggering it. You're going to have to start every workflow with some sort of trigger. For today, we're going to only use a manual trigger. I think it's a bit simpler, and you'll maybe run this automation once a week right before you buy your groceries. So it won't be necessary to schedule it daily or even hourly. So I'll go in, I'll create the trigger manually. The next thing we'll actually do is set some parameters that we want to search. And what I mean by that is look through our grocery list and actually write down the stuff that we want to eat. So I'm going to go ahead and add to this node. I'm going to do set. We'll do manual mapping, and I'm going to add some fields. So the first field I'll add is zip code, because of course we want to make sure that we are finding Kroger's in our area. I'm going to do one zip code here in North Dallas. I'm going to also add my groceries. So let's go ahead and do search terms. And these are string values, and we'll put some brackets around it. But I'm basically looking for things like milk, eggs, bread, chicken breasts, and let's try something that always goes awry, bananas. We'll make sure we close those brackets. And now we have our grocery list. This is where I'll talk a little bit about Kroger and what they offer developers like you and me to be able to go in and actually extract some of their data. So I've made it here to developer.kroger.com. And basically what this is a API and documentation of how you actually can create an app. So I'm using my personal email. You can see I have my client ID. I also have a client secret. This is just like logging into your email. They need to authenticate that it's you, and you're going to be able to enter in this information once you create your account. What you'll want to do when you get here is actually come here to manage apps, and you'll be able to actually register for a new app. So you can see here, I have the pinch hit price checker, and we'll start building this together, but you'll be able to go into developer.kroger.com and essentially be able to create your own app. So now we'll do a back-to-back HTTP request to find our stores. I'm going to go ahead and get stores. And what I want to do is actually go back to the Kroger developers to see what the URL is to be able to find these stores in my area. What I like about this particular website is they actually give you examples of what those URLs look like. So if you scroll down, you'll actually see it here on the right-hand side. So I'll go ahead and copy these locations, go back, add that there. Now we're going to do a bear token. We actually saved that earlier. And we're going to go ahead and filter some query parameters. And remember, we only want stores in Dallas. Kroger is a nationwide brand, but we want to keep it local. So I'm going to go ahead and filter our zip code. And then I'm going to filter the limit of 3 stores. So now we'll execute the step, and look at that, just like magic. You'll see the Kroger stores in the area that we entered. So they have location IDs, and then you can see the address of these particular stores. They offer way more information than you need. That's what APIs do. They're super detailed to allow you flexibility. So I'm going to go ahead and call this get stores, because now we have the stores we need. Perfect. All right. So the next step is we want to actually filter these store IDs and extract them. I'm going to use a little bit of JavaScript code. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I don't want you to freak out about the code. We'll go ahead and copy and paste the JavaScript code here, and I'll execute the step. And what that basically does is it cleans up all of that information that we saw. So you saw in the previous node, we had latitude, longitude, all of the information that allows us to be flexible. We want to whittle that down to the pertinent information that we'll add to our spreadsheet. We'll then go ahead and split some of the search terms. And I'll do that with JavaScript code once again. I'll execute this step. And effectively what I'm doing is making sure that I have all of my search terms, milk, eggs, bread, chicken breast, bananas, all of the things that are on my grocery list in these particular search terms, and map to the correct fields so they appear on our spreadsheet properly. Now we got to search for some products. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this. We'll do another HTTP request. And I'm going to go find some of the items that are on my particular grocery list. We'll do the bear auth once again. And I'm going to send some query parameters to make sure that I'm filtering out all of the things that I want. So we will add filter location, because we only want to return those items that are in our general location. The cool thing about this is I'm actually able to drag and drop the JSON or the schema back into this particular value field, and it'll present in JSON form and make it super easy for me so I don't have to write it manually. So I'll just drag and drop location there, and you can see that it appears. The next thing I'll do is I'll actually filter our search terms. And remember, these are the items that we placed on our grocery list. The last thing I'll do is make sure that we're sticking to the limit of just 3 items per search. And how I find that to be able to drag and drop is actually going back to the manual step, and where we had the product limit of 5, I'll drag and drop that there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and execute this step. And now we're almost home. You can see on the right-hand side here, we have a tremendous return of all of the information that was on our cart. Everything from Simple Truth organic milk. And if I continue to scroll down, I'm sure we'll find bread and everything else. But you can see how rich this information is and how powerful all the steps that we've taken, even up to this point, have been so far. So let's keep going. Now that we've found the groceries that we want, let's go ahead and filter those results. Again, it's much easier to do code to be able to do this. So I'll go ahead and add more JavaScript code. And what I want to do is run for all items. Now, the last thing we want to do is get all of this information into a spreadsheet. So before we started here, I created this Kroger Promotions Near Me spreadsheet, and I added all the fields that I'll want to add to the particular spreadsheet. So what we'll be able to do is actually connect directly to Google, add our particular spreadsheet, call out these columns, and fill the rows with the information back. So I'll enter in Google Sheets. We'll pin the row in the sheets. I've already signed in with my personal email account, but if you go here, you're actually able just to sign in with Google right there and get connected. So we'll want to add sheet within document. I'll go ahead and find Kroger Promotions Near Me, and we will start working on sheet 1. Once again, the cool thing is I'll be able to add these particular fields by mapping each column manually. Okay, so now I've added all of the items in these fields to map to my spreadsheet. Once I hit execute step, this empty spreadsheet will be filled with data that provides us information for our grocery list. All right, so we executed successfully. Now let's go over to our spreadsheet to see what we did. And just like that, voila, Google Sheets is here, and we've run the query. We've received all our grocery items back, and I'll scroll over to see the pricing. This is where all of the great parts about automation come in. Now I can set alerts. I can send myself emails. I can send myself a report every week before I go to the grocery store to see what the regular price of that particular item is and if Kroger is having a promotion. So as you can see here, for the Simple Truth organic half gallon of milk, the normal price is $4.49, but this week Kroger's got it for $3.99. That's going to help me obviously select the items that I want every week to be able to shrink that grocery bill. So what should I build next? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll go ahead and scroll to find the best and most impactful automation I can find. Until next time, see you later.